With Arsenal, then, it doesn't look as though a striker is incoming, that there's an injury concern over Gabriel Jesus. Eddie Nketiah is on his way to Crystal Palace. Are you comfortable that Arsenal could head from September to January with what they've got at the moment?
Only time will tell there, Rob. I mean, with Havertz, if he went and got injured, and then they'd be really right up against it. I think it's the same with Man City, really. I mean, they'd end up having to play a false nine. I think you can get away with a false nine for 2 or 3 or 4 games, but you wouldn't want to do it for 2 months. So I think Arsenal would have to bring someone in. I think so. It depends how bad Jesus' injury is. But it's hard now, with the fair play rules. And, if you're a top player and you want to come to Arsenal, you might not even be playing. So, players want to play football. So it'll be a hard one. But everything Arsenal have done so far with Edu and Arteta, they work together. They sing off the same hymn sheet. So, you got, as an Arsenal fan, you would have to keep faith in them too, and they haven't let them down so far.
Yeah, you mentioned the role of Edu there, Mikel Arteta, and I guess that's the key thing, that maybe they do need another striker up front, but there's no point just going out tomorrow and signing anyone and wasting a load of money on it.
100%. And that's where they'd be talking to each other for the last 2-3 weeks about this and weighing it all up. So I don't see Arsenal being with them two, the way they work together. I don't see it as a panic job where they just go, let's go and buy so he's free. We're going to buy him for 30, 40, 50 million. I don't see that with Arsenal. I don't see that at all.
Let's talk about one player who looks to be leaving then, Aaron Ramsdale, who's having his medical with Southampton. It just feels a good deal for the player himself that he needs game time, doesn't he? Particularly if he still wants to be an England squad member.
Oh, 100%. And it's a great move for him. Southampton, a Premier League team now. It's hard for goalkeepers. There's only one position. So, it's hard to get in at somewhere. So he's going to go in. He's going to be playing in the Premier League, which is great. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a great lad. And I wish him all the best. He's going to be busy, which sometimes you want that as a goalkeeper. He will be busy at Southampton. And, who knows? He'll be looking to take the #1 spot at England. It's a fresh start, new manager at England. And now he's got an opportunity to play in the Premier League and then become England #1.
We spoke about Raheem Sterling last week, Merse. Enzo Maresca yesterday saying the ones who are not involved are not going to be involved and they won't get any minutes if they stay. If you were Raheem Sterling now as a player, how would you be playing this situation?
I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. There'll be a little bit of pride, a bit of ego will be hurting him. He's a good footballer and the manager's just come in and he's saying things like that. You're not going to play again. You're not, won't get another minute. There'll be a little part of him who will be thinking, you know what? I'm going to dig my heels in. I'm going to dig a little part. And then there'll be a big part of him that thinks, you know what? I'm 28, 29. I want to play football. I want to play football. I'll swallow my pride, and I'll go away and I'll show Chelsea what they've missed. There's only 48 hours to go. This needs to be sorted quickly up till tomorrow night. You just don't want it to be a panic, and it will get into a panic now unless it's all being done behind the scenes where this has been sorted out since last week. But you don't want it to get down to lastminute.com and then all of a sudden he moves and then next Tuesday you're like, what did I do that for? And this is going to be the problem. This is I don't like about the transfer window. It just puts a lot of panic into people. And I just think, I feel sorry for Raheem Sterling. I'm a big fan of Raheem Sterling. He produces. He hasn't done great at Chelsea, but, he's still a top player.
Just to pick up on a couple of points that you made there. Firstly, about the age of him and whether at 29 you see it differently to 25, that you think, I can't afford 3 or 4 months of just sitting around not playing compared to a little bit earlier on in your career.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I mean, it will hit home. If he does stay at Chelsea and the manager says he's not playing a minute, it's hard. You get one chance at football. You get in there now. It's only when you only know when you've already been there and understand. This is big time. Big time. He's 29. People go, oh, he's 29. I played my best football in my whole career at 30. from 30 onwards when I was at Aston Villa at Portsmouth. They were the best football I ever played in my whole career. So the older you get, sometimes you become a better player, you become more shrewder, and you become more cleverer. You know, Raheem needs to play football. It's a short career. You know, in 4, 5, 6 years' time, that's it. That's it. It's done. Finished. You know, you're not playing football ever again. You're not playing in front of 40, 50, 60, 70,000 people. You're not playing in the best league in the world. So at the end of the day, you know, you've got to make sure it's the right thing. But it's a hard one. You know, you go to Man United where they're talking about Rob. He's played for Man City in Liverpool. If he don't hit the ground running, whoa, you're in big trouble, big trouble. You know, Chelsea fans are on his back at Chelsea. They were. And then you don't want that at Man United as well. So he's got a lot of decisions to make, Raheem. I do feel sorry for him in that way. And I know people go, he's on 350 grand. Why do you feel sorry? He's still a human being. He's still a footballer. He's still got to make decisions. Yeah,
and again, a couple of points to pick up on there. You mentioned how much he's earning and being a football player who needs to make decisions because you might be so desperate to play. Is there a scenario as a player where you think, do you know what, I might have to swallow losing a bit of money or I need to go to Chelsea and think how's the best way we can work our way out of my contract here? Chelsea might have to pay some of it just to get me out the door between now and tomorrow.
You know what, Rob? Many years ago, I left Arsenal for Middlesbrough for money. You know, the greed took over. I got offered a lot of money. In the end, I loved it at Middlesbrough. Don't get me wrong. It was a great place, great people, great club. But after that, I took a pay cut everywhere I went. Everywhere I went, I always took a pay cut because I just wanted to play football and I wanted to be happy. And I remember that first 3 months at Middlesbrough where it wasn't happy, do you know what I mean? And I chose the money over my career. And, you know, I come to learn that in the end. And as I say, I took a pay cut every club I went to because I just wanted to play football. But I didn't know that at the time. And Raheem won't know that at the time. You only know that after it happens. So that's my experience, you know, and that's why I always take in consideration players, you know, it's where you got to think of the family and everybody as well, you know, and sometimes, you know, that gets lost in translation and you just think, I'm going to go and play football there. But when you move up, it's a different story. But, you know, I loved it at Middlesbrough in the end, but at the time, you know, it was pure greed.
Chelsea are still being linked with bringing players in as well. Jadon Sancho, Ivan Toney. Who do they need more out of those two, would you say?
Again, you know, the Ivan Toney one, he's been available since dot. You know, he's been available all summer. This is what I don't like. You know, if you're going to go and buy someone on Friday, why haven't you done it before then? You know, unless you're looking at the purse strings and you're thinking, you know, if we wait till the last minute, we've just saved ourselves in this day and age. You saved a month's wages in this day and age. You're saving nearly £1 million. So this is what happens now. Some teams look at it that way. You know, clubs look at it and think, well, if we drag it out as long as we can, you know, we haven't brought him in at the start of August, you know, they've saved themselves £1 million. That's a lot of money. I know in football terms, it's not a lot of money, but it pays a lot of people around the place. It pays a lot of other people around the place who do a lot of hard work behind the scenes.
It's interesting. Again, Toney not involved for Brentford last night at Colchester, whereas Johan Wisser, who's been linked with a move to Nottingham Forest, did come on in the second half. So it feels as though Brentford have come to terms with the fact that one way or another, either it's somewhere in the Premier League or a couple of days later it might be Saudi Arabia, that he is gone and life without Toney begins.
Yeah, I think Toney's the same situation as what I had many years ago. You know, he'll be looking at the money will be mind-blowing in Saudi Arabia. It'll be mind-blowing and he will weigh that up. He's come the hard way round. He's been at Peterborough, he's worked his way up and he's got to a situation now where he can earn a lot of money at the end of his career. Or does he want to play in the best league in the world? You know, it's a big decision, this is. You know, forever it may be, you know, this is the best league in the world. It's the ultimate. But the other money makes him never work again. And it'll make, you know, but at the same time, money's not the only thing in the world. You know, as I say, he's worked so hard to get where he is and to become a massive name and a top footballer. I'd be gutted if he went to Saudi Arabia, but you know, when I hear the money that's being touted around, it's going to be difficult for the lad not to go to there. But I don't see him selling Wissa. I don't see him selling him. I can't see him. If they start selling him, I think Brentford are playing a dangerous football game. You know, with the Premier League, it's, you know, they might look at it and go, you know what, we're going to finish at least 3 places above some of the teams. But I wouldn't play that game. I don't think there's a lot of goals in Brentford's team at all. And I think they need to keep Wissa.
It looks as though Liverpool have had a very quiet window indeed. Might be getting Federico Chiesa in between now and tomorrow. Pretty small fee for a guy who's achieved a lot in the game. I was talking to Jan Molby actually last weekend about the importance, Merse, of just getting at least one body into the building for the rest of the players that are already there, the sort of boost in morale that brings.
100%. It gives you, this is a good signing. For £11 million in football terms, absolute cup of tea. The lad's an international. He's a hard-working lad. He works hard. He does what it says on the tin. This is a good signing. It just lifts everybody. If you don't bring anybody in, you got to look at it. You keep on doing the same things. You keep on doing the same things, you get the same results. Now, if Liverpool keep the same team, don't bring anybody in, they can't win the Premier League. They didn't win it last season with the same team. Even that little one player might spark something off. So, good signing for Liverpool. Just gives you someone else. Yeah, I like Liverpool. I think Liverpool will be all right. I think they're a threat. Definitely a threat.
A threat in terms of capable of challenging for the Premier League if it is just Chiesa added to that squad?
100%. You know, I'm not saying that he's the game changer, but he does push. He gives you another option. You know, as long as you've got Salah in your football team and Salah stays fit, you've always got a chance. You've got a Rolls Royce at the back in Van Dijk. Down the spine with McAllister, the way McAllister finished last season and started this season. You know, they've got an unbelievable goalie, unbelievable centre-half. You know, they've got a good midfield player, McAllister. And then up front, Núñez, on his day, is a world beater. But the lad on the right-hand side is world-class in Salah. So, believe me, they've got every chance, every chance.
You're with us tomorrow in the studio, I know, for Deadline Day, Merse. Are you expecting any particular clubs to be rushing around?
Yeah, again, I'm not a great lover of the transfer deadline day. I think it's a panic. I think people buy players and people go places that probably when they had time to think about it, they probably wouldn't have gone to. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I think it'd be quite busy. And I say that because, as I said before, if you drag this out to the end of the month in this day and age, you're saving yourself like £500,000 to £1 million in wages by dragging it out to the end of the month. So I think there will be some deals being done. I definitely think, but you know, I don't think there'll be as many panic buys as what has been in the past, unless people have got their accounts in order and they know what they can spend and not spend.